talk to a lot of beekeepers, and that's one of my favorite things to do is just to talk to beekeepers. And pride, just like you guys, just love to talk about how we keep bees. And I get asked a lot of questions about how I specifically keep my bees, and then I ask all the beekeepers. But I kind of put a presentation together here, just some of the most asked questions that I'm always being asked about beekeeping and just the different things that I do. And I always like to think about it as if we had all the money in the world, we'd all have fancy trucks and we'd have great big extracting rooms and fancy extractors, and we'd hire all the best employees, and we'd have all these answers figured out, but we all have different limitations and different understandings in how we understand the bees and how we can work their behavior to achieve what we need them to do for us. And we all have different end results too, so we're all targeting our bees to do different things. And I just find it extremely fascinating talking to beekeepers about how they set up their systems and how they set up their programs to handle all these challenges. And you can always tell a beekeeper how much he hates a job by the amount of attention that they put towards it. And I was talking to a beekeeper just last night, and he said, well, when you have problems, you just throw a lot of money at it. That's how he solves the problems. And I'm just going to tell you through this presentation, you're going to notice about all the hated jobs that I have in this business. And I feel it's okay to say that we hate certain jobs, because this beekeeping business is, like, it's terrible some days. Like, we wonder why the heck we're doing this some days. But we just have to be able to be honest with ourselves, identify the problems, and if we can identify the problems, then we can target the issue and then solve it so that we can bring that enjoyment back into the business. So that's just the kind of approach that I've taken in as I developed my whole beekeeping strategy. So the areas I'm going to specifically focus on are lifting, extracting capacity, and wintering. Those are three major blocks on my farm. So I'll just do a little bit of an introduction again. As you know, we keep about 1,200, 1,500 hives on the farm. We're primarily honey producers. Our production range is about that 300, 350 grams of annual production. I hire 7 local employees from the town, so I don't hire any foreigners. And Miami's been pretty good to the farm, so we tap into some local resource there, and we deliver to bee-made honey. And much the same as you guys, although here you guys are probably about 2 weeks behind our honey flows. But we start in the middle of June, and then we go into, well, not this year, but sometimes we pull honey right till September. So we're pulling off alfalfas and clovers and canola, and we grow sunflowers, so we get some good sunflower honey. Second cut of alfalfa, and then we don't get a lot of buckwheat honey anymore because the buckwheat kind of disappeared. So that's basically what I was in Wisconsin a few weeks ago presenting this one, and I showed them the picture of this moving hives up from the flats up into one of the areas up around our farm, and you can see, all you can see is canola, yellow as far as you can see. And if I could panoramic all the way around, all I can see is canola. And those guys are absolutely blown away with the abundance of nectar resource we have up here. And this is our asset, is our canola crop. So that's what we gear everything around. So with all that canola that we have to produce for delivering, this is one of the problems with wintering bees inside, is they don't get that cleansing flight through the winter. That's very important. 5 months, 4 months is a long time for a bee. You can find their guts are getting full, right? I call this a blowout. I was at the BC Honey Producers Association meeting last year speaking, and I said, nosema. I said, we have trouble with the nosema. And Randy Oliver was sitting in the audience, and he said, Apis or Serrana? And I said, well, species shifts pretty much all the Serrana. He says, well, that's not nosema then, because the nosema Serrana is like a silent killer. Nosema Serrana doesn't express itself like this. So what is this? What's going on here then? There's other things probably going on. Bees, guts are getting full, probably the yeast infection, right? So same thing with us when we have full guts and we have tummy trouble. If we don't go to the bathroom, we blow up, we have to make a mess, right? So that's what's happening here, and it smells bad, and it's a terrible loss, but this is one of the downfalls of wintering inside. I found since I started shifting from corn syrup to sucrose, it was almost immediate. Within 2 years of shifting, this has really cleaned itself up. And I do feed corn syrup in the spring when they can actively fly, but I think they just winter a little bit better on sucrose, especially when we're pushing it for such an extended period of time inside. So that's just my observation on that. And much of the beekeepers back home do the same. They found the same thing between the corn syrup and the sucrose. They just winter a lot better at sucrose. So we move them out. And I move them out at night. Like I was saying yesterday, we're moving out in the dark so we don't see the light, and just allows them to settle into the yard before they take their first flight. We do move it at night because a lot of the time it's muddy, we're getting stuck, so we like to walk on the frost. So it makes for a few long nights. And I just got to show you this again because this is really neat. The first flight is one of my favorite times of the year. I always like taking these moments out of time. This is what drives my motivation sometimes. When I'm working long nights, moving all these bees out, and I'm tired, and I want to go to bed, and I want to do this anymore because I'm getting stuck, and I'm getting stuck. But I remember, well, this day is coming, and I want to see this day. I want to see these bees out flying, just the hundreds of thousands of bees. It happens only like once a year. It's just a moment of absolute awe. This is what I just, these little moments in time, we have our moments that we hate about beekeeping, but the moments that we absolutely appreciate, we've got to make sure that we savor those.